this is an overview about our marketing machine, just to kind of tell you what this workstation does for your business and what it can potentially take your business to. For our business, it took it to multi-million-dollar company just because it kept us accountable with our own marketing, and nothing falls through the crack because this is a machine pretty much does not make mistakes and remind you what you need to send, and reminds you what list you need to pull at what time based on the sequences, based on the task that you actually preset for yourself in there. As you see, this was I recorded this after explaining it. This one pretty much says what list we need to pull, if we need planning it for what marketing, and if we have any past due marketing, any future marketing, any current day marketing. Um, and this consists of a few apps in here. Everything starts with a list, and then we need a major market. Then you identify your roles in the company. Then you have your sequences, and then templates, and then everything ends with filtering and marketing. Filtering is mean getting your files and filtering it and start planning it for your marketing and deploying it. And for the next videos, you will see how powerful this thing is. As the more you understand it, it will be a game changer, like I said. So just kind of a highlight over this to see after what we did, kind of see what the dashboard looks like. All right, so this is the marketing machine that we have. Um, it's kind of complicated, so I'm gonna break it in a few videos. Just know that everything starts with list type. So everything will start in here. That's the first step that you need to do. Go ahead in here and start your list. Let's say the list type is actually let's do tax default. And depends on your company how you like to measure tax default list. In our company, we measure that list as a hot list. So now, I'll go over the details for the other options. I just want to get you started on the main features. All right, so now it starts with a list. The second thing you do, so number one is the list. The second thing you need to do to identify is major markets. And plus, you can have multiple lists. I just started with one list right now. You can have 20, 30, or 100 lists or plus, more than that. All right, so major market. Let's say Arizona. Actually, you can have. We separate them by counties or like because it depends on the states. But if it's Arizona, we just do one. But let's say in Arizona you want to do Maricopa County only, or if it's Texas, you can do, let's say, Texas Fort Worth, and then you go in here and do Texas. Obviously, Texas is big, so you don't want to. That's a major market on its own. It's not just the whole state as a major market. So that's the second thing that you need to do is to identify your major markets. And again, you can add as many markets that you're in here. The third thing is identifying roles in your company. So we're going to create roles in here. So for each role, you need to add. If you're the only one in the company, you can add yourself for every single role in here. If you have VAs, obviously you can have different roles for each task. So I'm gonna do for training purposes, I'm gonna add myself to all of them, and let's do the other two. All right. So now we identify the roles of the company or this station, the marketing machine. So you can have one person, like I said, or you can have multiple people. Let's say you have a VA that does filtering, list distribution, skip tracing, and list type, or you can do the list distribution, which is marketing, and then everything else is done by VA. That's how we do it. We have VAs doing all these three, and this is what our marketing manager does. All right, so this is just the start and what you need, how to set it up at the beginning. Video number 2, I'll explain how to set up a little bit further. Now that we got our list type done, our major market done, and our roles identified, now we're gonna go into our list type. Again, like I said, you can have more than one list type. So we have list type called equity, and that temperature would be cold for us. And we save that in here, and always refresh because that's how Podio works, so it can populate the other fields. So let's say for equity that we need to create sequences. So if you've watched the marketing machine video explaining what it does, you'll understand that you need sequences and you need templates and all that work in sync with each other. So let's say for equity, we need to create a sequence for direct mail, or let's do it for voice broadcast, RVM, since it's a popular thing right now. Ringless voicemail, if you don't know what RVM is. And we're gonna create right now a sequence. So right now I just created a sequence, and you can create another sequence. Again, we'll refresh, and I can create another sequence for voice broadcast. I can create a sequence for direct mail. We can do one for cold calling. You get the point. So now that we created a sequence, I will come back to the list types. Let me explain sequence, and I'll go back to the list type again, because there is another thing that this thing is pretty cool what it does for you. So now that we created a sequence, so as you see, we made them earlier. We made a sequence for RVM. So for the equity, we're gonna say for a marketing plan for RVM, the one that we created, for the equity list itself, we're gonna renew it. We're gonna send an RVM again. Let's say you did a campaign, and after how many days you want to renew that campaign. So let's say you sent a campaign of 1,000 ringless voicemails, and you want to renew that after X amount of days. So I'm going to say for equity, since it's just a major list, not like a pre-foreclosure or something. Pre-foreclosure, you might want to do it sooner than that. You might want to do it every few days, every like 3 days or something, because it's going to pre-foreclosure. You want to catch them in a good time. For equity, since it's just general thing, so I would say just do it every 21 days or 30 days or something like that, depending how big your list or how much your budget is. So the beauty about this marketing machine is that you can control the influx of the task that you have in the marketing and how much you can spend. If you see something is not working as good, you can always go ahead and change one number, and it will work for you. It will change across the board. And we're gonna target this equity list for this campaign 1, 2, 3, up to 10 times. It's up to you, again, based on your budget. Let's just say for training purpose, we're gonna say 5 times, and I'm gonna activate this marketing sequence. So now, if ever you're gonna do a campaign for that contains equity, and it's for RVM, is gonna renew that campaign for every 21 days 5 times, and it will stop after that. It will be completed for your marketing, and it will all make sense at the very end. And now we're gonna need templates for these marketing sequences. So let's say now you have 5, so it will create. If I click create, because templates work again, everything works in sync with each other. So I'm gonna need to create templates for this marketing sequence for the equity RVM marketing sequence. So now we're going to go to templates. Now we have 5 templates, and they're all pending. Again, you should refresh. Normally it takes some time to populate. I don't know why this one didn't populate yet, but it should any second. So this is one for equity RVM touch 1. This is touch 1, touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, and 4. This is the labels that we have done for them. So touch means that how many times if you sent it the first time, it would be touch 1. If you sent it a third time, it would be touch 3. So we stopped this one at 5. And I'm not sure why this one is not populating. It should populate though. Again, and now we need to activate it. Please attach recording. So if you want to attach recording, you can attach it here so they can always, whatever system they use, if you need to drag and drop every time, you can attach it here, and that will pull up for you in the marketing app. We'll cover that after. Or you can add a text in here. The text can say use general voicemail. Again, we have multiple ones for our company, but let's say if this was a pre-foreclosure, we would use the distress voicemail that we have in our system. So that text will pop up and tell you what to use. So we can activate this, and now we have one. It should show one active, and the rest, there you go, just populated. And then activate the second one, and use this. Since it's the second one, use follow up voicemail number 1. And again, you can have whatever you can have in there. For our company, we use stuff like that, and follow up number 2 and 3 and 4. So you get the point. What happens here? Let me do one more so I can activate it. Use follow up number 3. All right. And so now that this is activated, you have the pending one, you have the active ones, and you can have inactive ones if you decide in the future to take them off, and you change that in the sequence. Let's say you had 10 in the future. Let's say for this one you had 5, and now you want to drop it to 4, so you're gonna deactivate one of the 5. So you just deactivate number 5. Okay. Now we're gonna go back to the list type where we said the cool thing is. Actually, let me go back to the templates. Templates can be different as well. So if we did marketing sequence since we have marketing sequence for direct mail, and we can create a template for that. We haven't done so. We're going to say for this one, if we're going to do mail, let's do every 30 days, and we're going to mail to them, let's say 4 times, and it's active. So let's create a template. This has to be done first before you create your own sequence for the templates, because it bases it off this. So for mail pieces, it works the same way. Right here for touch 1, since it's equity, you may want to use a certain type. You can attach this here, and you can see attach marketing piece, or you can say in the text use letter number 1, or whatever letter that you identify in your own company, and then you activate that. All right, so now, and that can happen to every single marketing tactic. Now we're going back to the list type. So the list type, at the bottom in here, we have tasks to pull lists over and over and over again. So for market, of course, we chose Fort Worth. I want to pull this list for our company. Since it's an equity list, we pull this every 90 days because it's a general list. It's not like a pre-foreclosure. If it was a pre-foreclosure list, you would pull it maybe every 5 days or every 7 days, depending on your company desire. But for us, we do this for every 90 days. And now we can activate the sequence. And you can have multiple ones in here. You don't have to do it for one. You can, if you have more companies in here, if you have more markets, you can add more markets and attach them here. So it will do that for every market for you. So now that this is active, it will remind you to pull the list. If you pulled it today, it will remind you after 90 days. It will actually add a task for you in here to pull this list again. So I'll say, hey, whoever the roles manager is, whoever the person in charge of the list is going to attach them there. So since it's me, it's going to give me a task saying, hey, it's time for you to pull this list. And of course, we do that so we can suppress against the old list, that we don't have to pull in lists that we can't, just fresh data. What we do is we keep that data and suppress it against the old list so we can have a fresh data. We don't have to have duplicate data. All right, so we're going to move on to video number 3. All right, now that we got everything set up, now it's going to we're going to be using only those two apps from now on. After everything is set up, and of course you can go ahead and tweak everything as you wish in the future and add more lists and add more sequences and templates. But these are the main two apps that you're going to be using after setting everything up. So then everything starts with a filtering and planning, which is getting your list and filtering your list. So we're going to go ahead and do an demonstration about, let's say you got a fresh list today, and for county, and let's say the list came from ListSource, and it is the equity list that we talked about. And for what major market, of course, that's the one we have. Don't worry about this because this will pull itself up by default. So if you wait a few seconds, like I said, and you refresh the page, wait a few seconds and refresh the page. If you notice that now we got a task to whoever was responsible for that in the task, and is going to tell, hey, we have a new list, list added, check files. So that means we're going to need to be checking the files and and working on it. So right here, let's say that we dropped the file that we had and the Excel CSV file or Excel, and it contains 10,000 records and whatnot. So now for our company, we like to filter the files to organize them in the way that we like to organize it. And then we normally, if you skip trace or not, so if you want to skip trace it, and then after that you actually finish your planning for the marketing. So obviously these steps can be changed as you wish, but this is pretty common for most companies. So filtering is pretty much just organizing your list just the way you wish to organize them. Some people use macros, some people use maybe say the raw data, and then after that list, and then the second list would be mail ready, and the third list would be, let's say, call ready or voice broadcast ready and whatnot. This just based on your company. So, and you have in here, it will tell you on the left side, you'll have how many lists that you have untouched and how many that need skipping, how many need planning, and planning is done and all. As well as the front dashboard will tell you exactly what you have. You have one new list need to be filtered. And of course, this is real time. Gives you what needs to be planning, how many need skipping, future marketing, and past due marketing, and current day marketing. Okay, so moving on. So now that we have, where are we at? Okay, now we have this. Now let's say I filtered the list, and if you skip trace it, you got to skip trace it. You got phone numbers and all, and let's say we say it had 10,000, but let's say after you got the phone numbers, now it has 20,000 or 100,000. But let's just do 10,000. It's an easy number to remember. And you want to break up the campaign into 4 different campaigns for RVM, or you can do it in 2. You can do up to 100. This one is so. For this one, let's say we want to break it up into 4, and it's gonna do it automatically 2,500 each. But if you don't want to do that, since this is an even number, if it's an odd number and you have a specific way of doing things, and you want to do it per like exact number, you can do this actually. You can do 5,000, or you can do, let's say, 3,000, and you put a comma, and you do another 3,000, and you want to do 2,000 and 2,000. So make sure that you put it in the same exact format: comma, number, comma, number, comma, number. And now it's gonna break up the files. It's gonna make 4 campaigns. The first 2 campaigns will be 3,000 and 3,000, and the second 2 campaign will be 2,000 and 2,000. And obviously you can play with these numbers as you wish. And exit plan trigger, we said we're gonna do an RVM, so ringless voicemail, since we did the templates for that. And this is telling you how many days do you want in between each campaign. So since you have 4 of them, it's going to be the same campaign, but it's going to be broken down to 4 different ones. Usually we have a day, 1 day, or 2 days, depending on what you like to do for your company again. And you can pick weekends included or not. So you can do Monday to Sunday, or you can do Monday to Friday. So it's totally up to you. you can click, let's say, click in here, and then click create marketing. Boom. Now it just created for us the marketing that we want. So I'm going to open them up over here, and I'll show you where it went to. So now we did one marketing, and let's say you want to do mail, you can do the same thing for mail. Let's say you have for mail, since it's not all phone numbers, let's say you have 3,000 or whatever, and you want to do one mail campaign. It's very easy. You can just do one mail campaign and remove this. So it's going to calculate just one. And you're going to do, you really don't need this, but you're going to do the same thing, and you create marketing. They'll create a mail marketing for you, and you can schedule whatever date you want from here. And then you create it. After you're done planning, you can always click plan. So now that we got the file, obviously we have 4 different campaigns. So this is covered pretty much. Right now, filter and planning is covered. Now that you know for each campaign that, let's say for RVM you have 4, make sure that you break it up into 4 in the same numbers that you had in here earlier, the 3,000, 3,000, 2,000, 2,000, because you're going to need to upload those in here for your marketer to pull these files up. And some people use macros, some people use filtering, just raw Excel to use that, or like our company, we use a lot of macros for things like that. All right, next video I'll cover the marketing station.